You know, I've been sizing up guys since I came to the WCW.
You know, I've always been a jam-up guy. You're a jam-up guy. You know, I've always been a jam-up guy.
Hello and welcome to the inaugural edition of Jam Up Guys. I'm Rick, joined by Richie. And Rick, no, we're not a vaudeville act. We just happen to have similar names, and we're wrestling fans. You have no idea who we are, but if you're in the group Up All Night with Ron DeShane on Facebook, you may have seen some of our particular brand of bullshit. Well, we decided to start a wrestling podcast, and here we are. And today we're going to be talking about the hottest subject of the week, and that's AEW Collision happening this Saturday, the 17th. So, what do we know? Richie, hit us.
I guess we're supposed to consider it something like a soft brand split. Headlined by CM Punk. Collision will be, of course, the EVPs on the other side on Dynamite. There will be some crossover. I assume champions would have to cross over. Please, God, don't invent more titles. Yeah, and we know the main event will be CM Punk teaming with his friends FTR, the best tag team in the world today. And who are his opponents besides Jay White? I kind of forgot.
Juice Robinson?
Yes.
And Samoa Joe.
I don't know why I forgot Samoa Joe. He's one of my all-time favorites. But I'm hesitantly excited for it. And we can get into why I say hesitant, because I'm pretty sure we all feel.
I think we're all hesitant and excited, but cautiously optimistic is what I would say. Richard, what do you got? Do you know anything else that we don't, or should we just move right along?
I mean, the TNT banner says that Powerhouse Hobbs will be there, and Miro and Thunder Rosa. So it looks like they're bringing back most of the people that the fan base has been saying, where are insert name here? Like Andrade, what's he been up to? I don't know if we're going to get matches or if they're just going to come out and be like, hey guys, we're here. But we'll see.
Are they still in Tony Khan's office? That's the last we saw of any of these people.
Yeah.
So, fuck if we know. But anyway, what do we want from this show? I got a lot to say about this one, but I'm going to let you guys start it off. Richard, you want to keep rolling? Then Richie will switch right to you.
Yeah. I mean, what I want out of it, I want the roster they've announced seems a lot like they could build a early 2000s SmackDown out of it, where you focus on those 6 guys or those 6 wrestlers, and you build them as pillars. You take it back to what AEW was when it started 4 years ago, where you just have good matches between names you want to see. That you don't exactly need the big story to start it out. As a beginning, I would just like to see, Miro versus Powerhouse Hobbs one week, and then that branches into them fighting 2 other guys the next week. Just kind of building on better match quality without the needless backstory behind everything that Dynamite has now built into every match, where it's just senseless tomfoolery, I guess.
That's a good way to put it. Richie, thoughts? What do you want from this show?
I want it to be completely different from Dynamite in virtually every way, even if there is some crossover with who's going to be on the show. I want it to look different. I want it to feel different. With the IWC in particular, we're at each other's throats because we all like the wrestling we like. And there's people that will defend what the EVPs do to the death. And there's the people on the other side that love the CM Punks and the Bret Harts and the FTRs. And I'm glad to see Miro come back. I mean, my God, how do you not see top heel? Yeah. How do you not see top heel? Against any babyface. And it needs to be different in every way. Have their kind of wrestling and then have this kind of wrestling. See who wins. See what show ends up being better. Like if you're gonna call it a soft split, then make it competitive. I want both people on both shows to say our show needs to be better.
Yeah, and that I think that would be the perfect way to do it. Almost like how you had Raw and SmackDown competing against each other back in the 2000s when you had the Eddie Guerreros on one show and then you had the other bums over on Raw. I always watch SmackDown personally, but yeah, I'm right with you guys. I think it needs to be a completely different look and feel. It's got to be a different ring. It's got to be. I really think they need a complete overhaul on their presentation. We need new referees. We need a better announce team. I'd love to see Morrow come out of wherever he's been because he's the best announcer on the planet, in my opinion. Now that Bobby Heenan's no longer with us, they got to do something different. You got all these guys who are so good, and I've made this analogy in groups before, but it's very Pet Cemetery to me. How you got all these guys that you've wanted back for so long, and they come back and they've changed in a shitty way, and you kind of want them to go back wherever the fuck they came from because the booking's been so bad. It's been so overbooked, and it's just been a joke after joke, and the comedy's bad. I don't want to see referees fighting Kurt Angle's ex-wife. I don't want to see stupid shit. I want rules. I want, I'm not asking for much. If someone's outside the ring for 10 seconds, I want them to lose the match. Not everything has to have a weapon, just everyone says you can't wrestling's changed. It's evolved. It hasn't evolved. It's completely devolved. It's gone the other way. And
I agree with that.
I'd love some territory feel. To your point, you got a guy like Miro he's a fucking unit. Look at that dude. He can talk, he can work, he can do it all. You got FTR, best tag team in the world. You got CM Punk. I'm a huge fan. A lot of people aren't, but a lot of people like fucking blood sausage. I don't agree with that either. So what the fuck, it's got to have a whole different feel. And if they give us Excalibur on commentary and they give us Orange Cassidy opening the show, I got to be honest, it's going to need a lot more than that to get me to stay because it's rough now. It's been real rough for a very long time.
Yes.
So I guess that brings us to what's it actually going to be? What do you think is actually going to happen? Are we going to get this brand split with these workers who, on paper, this seems like an incredible roster that's capable of dynamic storytelling, excellent matches, and, some pretty cool epic shit that could keep us all entertained for a very long time. Is that what we're going to get? Richard, what do you think?
I think it's going to start out being one thing and end up being something much lesser. Just like how Dynamite went. How when Dynamite started, it started with pretty much what most of the IWC was clamoring for. I want to see first matches that are first matches and not first matches that are championship elimination matches where that the babyface is going to win just to lose the championship fight later. I just want two guys to meet and wrestle, and then that can start a storyline between those two guys, and you add in the stipulation matches later. But we're going to end up with Miro versus CM Punk in a barbed wire, everything on fire, spam in the kitchen on a pole, sponsored by Hormel Foods, match. I just feel that as much as they're going to want to get away from that formula they already have existing with Dynamite, with one guy booking both shows, it's just not going to get away from it.
I have that same fear, but with more expletives. Richie, what do you got?
The single greatest episode of AEW Rampage was the first one.
Yeah.
CM Punk made his, return after 7 years, right? Rampage. To say that it's gone downhill since that first episode is the fucking understatement of the century, dude. It is unwatchable now. Unwatchable. Tony Khan is at a disadvantage that I'm an old wrestling fan, and Vince McMahon already stretched my patience and broke it over the years. So I have very little to give Tony Khan now. You know what I'm saying? I'm hanging my hat on CM Punk. When CM Punk came back in that whole first year, what CM Punk did in that entire year was the best thing AEW was doing. And it did have a ripple effect where somehow the rest of the show seemed more watchable. I don't know why that is, but when CM Punk was there, and he was there every week, I have a lot of faith in CM Punk's quality control. I think he has a lot of say in what he does, and he should. And it's quality. His entire year, every rivalry he was in was quality. Every match he had was good or great. Every single match, every single story. I have faith in CM Punk. If they let CM Punk maybe even take control of other people's stories, not just his own, or at least have some kind of say in the overall booking. The problem is if Tony Khan is still booking the thing, it's going to be Tony Khan booking.
Yeah.
Like, if it's Tony Khan booking, it's Tony Khan booking. We've seen Tony Khan booking. It hasn't changed. He refuses to change. We're still getting Orange Cassidy. Oh my God, so much Orange Cassidy.
Yeah.
He's fucking Roman Reigns. He's beating 10 people. He's throwing them out like cordwood in battle royals. This fucking guy. Like, this is Tony Khan booking. I don't want Tony Khan booking. And Collision is about going to be it for me. I'm going to give it a while because I love CM Punk and I love FTR and I'm glad Miro's back. All those guys. Samoa Joe, great. I like the roster. What I'm hearing about the roster, I like it. Please, for the love of God, don't fuck it.
I'm in the same boat. Word on the street is Punk does have some level of input creatively. I just don't know to what end. I like that Ace Steel's back. I don't think he's going to bite anyone else, which is great news for everybody.
That's my man right there. Ace Steel.
Man. I love Ace Steel. I would have done the same thing. I got to be honest if I was in that situation. But that's not here nor there. The thing is with Collision, it needs to be different. What it's going to be is going to be very dependent on Tony Khan's involvement. And I've been giving Tony Khan the benefit of a doubt for 4 years, but it's gotten to the point where he should know better. He should really know better. It doesn't matter how much money you have or what you think you know about the business. I mean, you're surrounded by guys like Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard and Sting and Cornette and Brian Last talk about it all the time. The people that they have backstage that just aren't being listened to. It's very evident. I mean, Jim Ross, for fuck's sakes, what the hell? Mm-hmm. How are you not putting stock into what these people have to say? He's treating the company like, I don't know if you've ever seen the Richard Pryor movie, The Toy, where like that shitty little rich kid buys Richard Pryor and Jackie Gleason gives him money for it.
Yep.
I mean, that's Tony and Shad Khan in a nutshell, and everyone in AEW is Richard Pryor. It's crazy. He's playing with action figures, and I'm sure everyone, maybe they're happy and maybe they're having a good time, but it's not coming across like that being an old school wrestling fan. I don't understand the thinking of the new school wrestling fans. I don't get it. It's not for me. I don't like it. I don't want to get it, to be perfectly honest, because it's more like Cirque du Soleil than it is sport. I like when wrestling is a sport, when it's, I hate this guy because he fucked my wife. I hate this guy because he took my belt. Now we're going to be in a blood feud for X amount of months and we're going to lead to something big and we're going to beat the shit out of each other and we're going to fucking mean it. And the promos are going to mean something. The matches are going to mean something and everything in between is going to mean something. And we don't have that in AEW. We did, though, to your point, because Punk elevated Hobbs. He elevated everyone he fought. Everyone came out of his feuds looking better. I mean, he didn't make Darby a star. Darby's been doing that himself. But you're falling into the pattern where now, under Tony Khan booking, you have 3 little guys who are the underdog. You can't have 3. It's like you got to pick a lane. Is it Darby? Is it Orange Cassidy? Is it Jack Perry? You got to pick one because you can't have 3, because having 3 little guys kicking the shit out of people the size of Brian Cage and Buddy Matthews doesn't make fucking sense. It doesn't make sense. So Collision, what it's going to be, I don't know, but I'm right there with you that this is kind of going to be my last straw for AEW. I hope it's different. I hope it has a lot more of that sports-based presentation that we were promised out of the gate. And that's not my words. That came right from the horse's mouth. You know, that's what they told us. They said it's going to be a sports-based presentation. We haven't fucking seen that. We did for 9 months. Punk and MJF, that was a sports-based presentation.
It was fantastic.
But you know, we don't need the dance numbers. We don't need the guys just flipping and for no reason.
Darby is the one they should go with now. It should be Darby because his stuff looks believable. He looks like he's trying to hurt you. His dives look legit. He looks like he wants to hurt somebody when he dives off.
Yeah,
and plus, let's face it, his career isn't going to be long. So let's push him to the top now.
I'm with you on that because that
maybe he's got 5 years. Maybe 5 years.
Yeah, unless he goes up the mountain and maybe shorter. Yeah. Shit.
But I think Darby's that guy that they go with, and I think he's better than the others. Certainly better than Orange Cassidy. But yeah, like you said, I'm hanging my hope on CM Punk, and I'm hanging my hope on CM Punk. I believe in CM Punk. I believe CM Punk's going to put out quality. What say you, Richard?
So I think the one thing we haven't talked about, and one thing a lot of people haven't talked about is, all right, let's look at the week setup. Monday, we have Raw. Tuesday, NXT. Wednesday, Dynamite. Thursday, nothing right now. Friday, we're going to have Collision, or we have Rampage, and we have SmackDown. Saturday, we have Collision. Sunday, you have once a month PLE, once every couple of months a pay-per-view maybe, or an NXT PLE, and then on a Sunday you're going to have the AEW. Like, where's our break at this point? Can the smaller community like even facilitate all of these shows anymore? This isn't the heyday. We are definitely like a lot smaller in a fan base than we were when Nitro was pulling a 5.4. You know, SmackDown pulled what 2.6 million, and that was like a big hurrah because of Roman's like 15-minute segment, which is a build for the last 3 years. Like, can it even support like even with Rampage stepping down to be the new Dark Elevation show? Like, will there even be enough viewers to support Collision if it is good? Is like my main concern.
Really
I want to believe that the word of mouth. If it is good and stays consistently good for a few weeks, will spread a little bit and people will check it out. I'd like to believe that, but I can 100% understand any wrestling fan that is just done. They're just done. They don't care because of all the drama. They're sick of the drama. They're sick of the bullshit. They're sick of the bickering with each other. Fans bickering with each other.
Right.
I mean, it's just like, you can't talk about wrestling on the internet unless you're willing to get into it with somebody over it. And the thing is, it's like the old people don't just want old wrestling because there's things that always work in wrestling that would still work today. CM Punk and MJF proved that over their entire rivalry. That was all classic pro wrestling. That whole thing was classic pro wrestling. The matches were good. The story was good. People were into it. FTR. They have modern day wrestling matches that appeal to people who like wrestling today and the people who liked wrestling yesterday. It's possible. You could do it because we've seen it. I still see good matches.
Yeah.
Objectively, you watch wrestling and you'll see a good match. But for some reason, it's not enough anymore because everything else is so bad. The good matches are what kept me hanging on in like the Bret Hart era, the Shawn Michaels era. It's like, the matches are good, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was enough. Those guys were enough just having good matches. I kept watching. It's not enough anymore.
We talked about it offline, and I think we bring it up in it's a point in a later episode as well. But back in really weird WCW booking. Remember when they were making those mini movies, and there was like the Ice Castle of Fear?
Oh my God!
Whatever it was called, with it was Vader and Sting and Harley Race was there, and that little guy. That was like a 5-minute movie. So that was like a 5-minute overly produced segment of bullshit. But
it's almost as good as the one they made on the beach. You remember the one they made on the beach too?
The one on the beach.
Sid and Vader.
Yeah, like those little weird movies. But I mean, if you think about it, those were 5 minutes apiece, and they led to crazy good matches. Like that Sting Vader match is incredible.
Yeah, that's a good
Absolutely
match.
incredible, bell to bell.
Right.
Now it feels like the reverse, where we're getting, 20-minute segments of bullshit with no payoff. And
or weeks upon weeks of just matches that lead nowhere. Like you take that whole Four Pillars match setup they just did that went over 3 months. Everybody was exactly the same going into that match as they were at the beginning of the feud.
Yeah.
There were no shifts. Nobody was elevated. It all came in. MJF was a champ, and the 3 guys were under him. Nobody got a definitive win. Nobody got anything in that entire feud going into that pay-per-view.
They fucked up still trying to call all of those guys the Four Pillars, because maybe when they started the company that was true, but I don't think it's been true for a long time.
No.
You can
Well,
still
when they
obviously
started it, one of the Four Pillars isn't around anymore because it was Jimmy Havoc. But
yeah, but it's like MJF. Obviously, that's the future. Obviously,
yeah,
in whatever company he ends up in. But Sammy Guevara, is he a pillar? I don't think Sammy Guevara is a pillar. I think if he went away forever, I wouldn't miss him. He's not bad. He's not bad in the ring, but
I think Sammy has serious potential, and I think he's a really awesome worker. But he's in the same mindset where, you're doing too much. Like, I mean, CM again. We're gonna talk about Bret Hart and CM Punk a lot on the show. I'm sorry, but they make fucking sense, man. And if you like CM Punk and Bret Hart, you're in the right space. And if not, you're probably going to tell us to go fuck ourselves. But that's fine too, because people on the internet do that shit all the time. And that is the big problem since the inception of AEW is during the Monday Night Wars. I mean, given the internet wasn't as prolific, but like more people watched wrestling then than probably ever, right? Arguably, maybe.
Right.
I mean,
other than maybe the Hogan era, but yeah,
sure, but
like the initial Hulkamania era.
But do you ever remember talking to like someone who was a fan of Stone Cold Steve Austin when you're wearing an NWO shirt and them telling you to go fuck yourself? Because I don't. Now it's it's like you either like this or you like that, and you can't like anything else, and it's fucked. And it's almost like how politics are treated nowadays, where there's no gray area or room for discussion. It's this way or that way or fucking nothing. And I don't know why that is, why there's such a fan divide. I mean, I guess you could say that some people just like really stupid shit, but who am I to fucking judge?
The toxic fan base. I mean, pick anything you're into. You ever looked at like Star Wars? Toxic. Comic books, toxic. Heavy metal. I'm a heavy metal guy. Toxic as fuck. It's the world today. It's not exclusive to wrestling. Wrestling's pretty bad, but it's not exclusive to wrestling at all. It's a worldwide thing, and I think I'm thick-skinned enough that if somebody tells me to go fuck myself, I'm like, whatever. I don't give a. You don't fuck me or pay my bills. It doesn't matter. But,
and that's
yeah. So
that's the attitude that. You have to. It's weird that you have to have that to give a shit about things in the year 2023. Like
these AEW fans are scary, unreasonable. Some of it.
It's true.
It's scary. Like I've interacted with some of them where I'm just like, "You are not right. You are not right, and you should seek help immediately." I mean, some of them are like the dude who told Kevin Nash, that's why your son died because he said something against AEW. Like, what a piece of shit!
What the fuck.
You know what I mean? What a piece of shit. And it's just, it's wild out there. And I think they can get what they want on Dynamite, and I want to get what I want on Collision in a perfect world. Yeah. That's what I'm hoping for. And I'm hanging all of that on people like CM Punk and FTR, Samoa Joe. Please, for the love of God, do something with Miro.
Yep.
It has the potential for AEW to be great, has actually been there since day one. The potential to be really good has been there from day one.
They've always had the roster. Like, I mean, maybe not always. It's definitely coming to its own lately, but yeah, you're right about that. It's like, I don't know why there's so much weird tribalism. Like, I don't know. Like whatever you want, but don't wish fucking death on people if they don't agree with you. That's crazy. Like, I don't like the flippy shit. If you do, that's great. But at the same time, it's not what I want to watch, especially when you're telling us it's going to be a fucking sports-based presentation. We're not getting that on WWE because, I mean, that's become a soap opera at this point. And I don't mean like in a wrestling perspective. I mean, it's literally hours upon hours of people talking. In 20 minutes of matches, if we're lucky. Thank God the Cody shit's been good and the bloodline, and we actually have like some real storylines, but I mean, Jesus Christ. Give us something.
I think what would set the perfect tone is if in like Samoa Joe, and he hasn't done this for, man, I want to go back at least 12 years to his Impact days, has to fight like a flippy guy. The guy goes up to like do the flippy move and he just walks away and comes up to the rope. I mean, I would love to see that again. He didn't pull that at all in WWF when he was there because he was against AJ Styles most of the time. But that would just be such a nice statement for Collision if he would just start pulling that again.
As long as he's not kidnapped by ninjas, I'm happy.
Yes.
I mean,
for the love of God.
But honestly, at this point,
that's why we have Impact Wrestling. I don't know if either of you guys ever watch Impact Wrestling, but if you ever want to watch just silly storylines for the sake of silliness, literally people get murdered in Impact when they leave Impact. Like when their contract is up, their character literally gets murdered by somebody. And then when they come back, they rise from the grave and are a zombie for a while. It is just insanity.
Wow. I try every once in a while to give Impact a chance. And actually, I've been hearing lately that right now it's not bad.
I've really been
enjoying it. No, the match quality is actually pretty good. I mean, I watch it on and off when I can catch it. So,
yeah, I might give it another go. Last time I tried is when the Briscoes went over there to feud with the Good Brothers, but it was all very temporary. Yeah. So it was like an in and out thing. So I watched some of that.
Yeah.
But I had too much to do to watch all the wrestling. Some wrestling's just got to go.
Yeah, I mean, it's 6 days a week now, which is I think it's the most. It's got to be the most it's ever been. I mean, back in the day, we had Raw, SmackDown.
I mean, I think the saturation level was already there before Collision. So I mean, we'll see where it goes. But
so I guess what it means is what it's actually going to be is a lot. I feel like it's not just us in this boat. That Collision might be the last hope a lot of folks have for the sports-based presentation that we were promised. They didn't have to say that, by the way. They never had to say that.
Nobody made them say that.
No one made them say it and promise it and shout it from the rooftops and not deliver.
I think that really came from Cody. I have a feeling that really came from Cody, the sports-based presentation, because Cody, when he was in AEW, was doing a lot of cover band Jimmy Crockett booking.
Oh, yeah.
You know, a lot of that stuff. And so I think Cody, I think it was important to him to throw in that sports-based presentation. And then as we've heard people say, it turned into the Codyverse, where everything Cody was doing in AEW was completely separate from everything everybody else was doing. So he was trying for the sports-based presentation, but that was just the Cody. The other AVPs and all the others were just like, well, we never really planned to do that.
It was like a weird multiverse of different universes. I know that they pointed it out on the Cornette Experience and probably said it a lot better than we're going to. But the thing, it's true. You almost had like 3 companies in one where no one intersected, which is just so bizarre.
It was weird.
It's just a really bizarre presentation. I just want to go on record and say I have been pulling for AEW since day one, and it's hard to watch when one match is good and then all of a sudden it's just fucking stupid. It's just silly. You get like the arcade match from a couple years ago, and fucking every battle royal leads to a trios match, which leads to a ladder match, which leads to a fucking interim title match. What the fuck? Just come on. Give me a couple guys who don't like each other, and I want to watch them fight. I want to watch them beat the shit out of each other, and I want to get behind one of the guys, and I want to hate the other guy, and I want to like one of the guys, and I don't know.
Well, let me ask you guys. I'll ask you first, Richard. There's a lot of talk about the ticket sales, or you should say the lack of ticket sales. I personally am not somebody who gets bogged down in stuff like that and arguing over splitting hairs over ratings. I kind of pay attention, but I don't I don't know. The ticket sales thing is just not an argument I necessarily like to get into. So, but what do you think it says that the ticket sales for coming up collisions are low?
I mean, so if you look at where they're low, it says like for Canada shows, when you have a pay-per-view like 2 days before the one show, it just looks like that market just kind of hit their limit there, because there's a Newark show that's already sold like 4,000 tickets. And if NWA and Impact showed anything, you don't need a crowd to have a good show. I mean, sure, it's going to help you on the back end, but yeah, Tony literally could start a bonfire with $1 million a day and still have more money than any of us will ever see in our life. So I don't think it's going to affect AEW in the long run if they go through a slump of low-selling Canadian ticket or Canadian like shows.
Did they burn out that market too fast? Did they burn it out too fast?
Yeah.
Like they got into Canada and all of a sudden it was like 10 shows in Canada, like right now.
Right. Right. I'm surprised they haven't done it with Chicago yet either, because it's like every big show they have in the States is in Chicago. And they're always announced like 3 weeks before the venue is officially announced. So it's just like massive like FOMO buying. And I'm surprised they still moved over, $8,000 in seats for that venue in particular. So
yeah. That is pretty surprising. I agree with you. It's I remember when WCW was actually winning the ratings war during the Monday Night War. Mm-hmm. I went to a WCW Saturday night taping at an arena in Lakeland, Florida that I think the capacity was only 5,000 anyway. It was a smaller building. It wasn't full. It wasn't full. They moved everybody to one side because our tickets were actually for somewhere else. They were like, no, you got to sit on this side so it looks full on TV. That kind of, and that was when WCW was winning. So the economy plays a part. It's not great right now. Mm-hmm. Things like this, the disposable income for everybody isn't there like it was. But I think there is something to be said for the fucking drama that happened as a result of that media scrum. That it was so interesting and everyone talked about it so much and hypothesized and debated and everyone has an opinion. And then I felt burnout after a while from it all.
The whole thing
was exhausting.
And there were so many odd levels of gaslighting attached to it. Like, I felt like we were lied to by everybody.
The next big question is CM Punk going to be a bigger draw on screen or behind the screen at this point? Like, is he going to be more popular with the IWC now that he's back wrestling instead of sitting at home and collecting a paycheck?
I think he needs to lean in and turn heel.
I agree. I think
he needs to turn heel. Heel Punk is amazing. Heel Punk is amazing. I actually ordered the Ring of Honor streaming thing the week of WrestleMania because I was just like, fuck it, it's wrestling week. My daughter and I, we watched so much wrestling. So I ordered the Ring of Honor thing just so I could watch all of CM Punk's old shit. And he was great as a young heel in Ring of Honor. He was fucking good, man. That was good shit.
He had some
If you want to see some good like heel Punk without like watching Ring of Honor, just go watch Royal Rumble 2010.
I love it.
When he was in the Straight Up Society.
Oh yeah,
and he's
I love
it. And he gets in the ring and eliminates the guy and has 3 minutes to himself and grabs the mic. Yeah. Goes off for 3 minutes. The next guy comes in for the Rumble, immediately throws him over and gets another 3 minutes of just pure heel Punk promo.
Yeah, and I remember at one point that's when Booker T made a big return. I remember that Rumble well. Yeah, I remember that well. That was great shit.
Right.
Great shit.
Well, I think that's Collision. And I think the sentiment here is Collision. Jesus fucking Christ. Please be good.
Please be good.
Please don't suck. But
I'll give them a learning curve. I'll give them a learning curve a couple weeks. I'm going to give them a few weeks to see what it's going to be.
How long are you giving it?
At least 3. I got to give them at least a month. To be fair, Punk's been gone a long time. FPR, all their heat and momentum is gone. Like, let's see if they can get it back.
Right.
Nobody got over organically more than FTR. They were heels. The crowd turned to FTR babyface.
Well, same could be said about the Acclaim.
The Acclaim too, absolutely.
And Ricky Starks and Hobbs to a degree.
Ricky Starks was big coming in though because he was pretty well known through his NWA work.
That's
still when NWA was like the hot indie darling, but
right.
Well, before we go, who you got? Punk and FTR or Joe and Bullet Club Gold? predictions.
Bullet Club Gold. I got to tell you something, and I don't want to sound like an ignorant ass, and I'm really going to piss off some internet people. I have not seen a ton of Jay White's work. I have actually the only Jay White stuff I've seen is the times he's been in AEW.
Oh wow!
So I don't really see where he's like one of the best wrestlers in the world. I don't get that from him. He's pretty average.
Yeah, Jay White in AEW is not Jay White.
That's
okay.
He did some outstanding like character and match work when he was over in Bullet Club.
Okay.
It's true.
Okay, I'll try to dig a little deeper on Jay White then, because so far I've seen very little, but I haven't seen what everybody's talking about. And I was like, he's another Kenny Omega. He's overhyped, is what I was thinking.
His New Japan stuff was really good.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, and honestly, like, it's just weird that they're doing Bullet Club again.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
It is. I think it's dead and buried.
Instant merch sales.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. Samoa Joe can do no wrong to me. Samoa Joe he's almost up there with guys like Punk and Bret Hart to me. He's in the top 20 for sure for me. Samoa Joe can do no wrong. I want to see nothing but good things happen to Samoa Joe. But Punk's got to win. Punk and FTR, right? Punk's been gone. I'd like to see a heel turn. Maybe not on that first Collision, but maybe a seed planted, and that would make me super happy.
That would warm my cold heart. Richard, who do you got?
I mean, Booking 101 would say that, returning hero, hometown crowd, Punk FTR go over. However, we have not seen typical booking anywhere at all. So, I mean, just to throw the swerve, I mean, Samoa Joe and Punk alone, without FTR and the Bullet Club Gold stuff, would be a good enough feud for me that if Joe taps Punk out and it starts an actual like Joe Punk feud, I would be fine with that.
I would too.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
I love everyone involved in this match. I'll be honest. I love Juice Robinson. I love Jay White. This is they throw dream match around really, really loosely these days, but for me, this is actually a dream match. I love all 6 of these guys.
Okay.
And as much as I want Punk and FTR to win, I think Joe and Bullet Club Gold are going to piss off the fans. I think they're going to take the W. I think we're going to see the Guns get involved because they're now members of Bullet Club Gold.
Oh, they are.
They are.
That.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. I did not know that.
There was some fuckery on Dynamite. A lot of people missed it because everyone shut off Dynamite probably.
I shut off Dynamite, yeah.
I did too. I had to read about it in the dirt sheets. But
I like the Gun Boys. I
do too. I'll be honest. I like them as Bullet Club guys. I like Jay White and Juice, but I don't necessarily love them as a tag team. They're both great single stars, so let them be that. So if Bullet Club Gold is going to be the heel faction on Collision, I think they're going to get a win. I think they're going to, if you really want to make the show different.
If you want to make stars, you could go that way if you actually wanted to make. Joe has no heater momentum either. He got relegated to Ring of Honor in the hopes of bringing that brand up. I don't think anybody can at this point. I think the intentions are good. And I like Ring of Honor. I'm a Ring of Honor fan. I think you want to buy it for the library and try to monetize the library better.
Oh yeah.
But,
Jesus.
But I think they need to put an end to Ring of Honor and put Joe back on national television, for God's sakes. You got Claudio splitting his time between Ring of Honor. It looks bad at this point. Claudio's a star. He needs to be on television.
That's so weird to me too. It's like he's the Ring of Honor champion, but he's like Moxley's sidekick.
Yeah.
Right.
He's the champion. What the fuck?
Yeah, and then Wheeler is always in contention for the secondary championship there.
He is.
So what does that say about that brand if your top 2 guys are on another brand side kicking it to, Bryan Danielson and John Moxley?
Well, we've all heard our friend Jim Cornette and what he thinks of Wheeler Yuta, and that's one thing I kind of disagree with him on. I do not hate Wheeler Yuta. I don't know if he's not right for what the Blackpool Combat Club is trying to be. He sticks out like he's somebody's little brother that mom made the big brother take him along is the vibe I get from Wheeler Yuta. But Wheeler Yuta is not bad in the ring.
If Yuta doesn't speak, I'm all for it. I just don't believe
he had a really good match with MJF. I remember his match with MJF. It was really good.
Yeah. Oh, this actually brings up a good point. We could talk about it offline, but future topic. What the fuck is Daniel Garcia's gimmick? Is it an undercover cop? Is he? What is he?
Narc, bro, you fucking narc.
His gimmick is me not caring about him anymore.
Right. I forgot him.
He seems like he's doing like a bad DiCaprio from The Departed. Like,
that's funny.
He's like less popular than Jake Hager's hat at this point.
That's a bold statement. We're gonna have to have an entire episode about hats because what the fuck with the hats? Everyone, Jesus
people
Christ.
are reacting to it. It's the fan base today. They react to the silly shit, so they're running with it.
People want the goddamn hats.
You know?
Well, if
I'm not mad at Jake Hager. I'm not mad at Jake Hager. It's because all the AEW fans are like, I like the funny hat on the big man.
That's true.
Like, I love this hat. And he's like, you got to do something, right? He's just fucking Jake Hager. Like, you got to try something. You know,
you got to do something.
Yep.
And that's going to bring us back to our closing statement of Collision. Jesus fucking Christ. Please be good. Just please don't suck.
What else can you say?
It's going to be a long Saturday.
It is.
Well, everyone, this has been great. So if you like what you heard, please like, subscribe, follow all the stuff. We got an end card where you can get in touch with us if you have any questions. What do you think about Collision? Talk about it in the comments, or don't. Or tell us to go fuck ourselves. Honestly, engagement's engagement. I'll take what I can get. But anyway, thank you very much for joining us. Hopefully we'll be merchandising soon so you can get yourself your very own Jam Up Guys stupid hat. And I think that's all we got. Richie, you got anything?
No, I'm good.
No, this has been a good productive conversation between three neckbeards.
There you go. Aging neckbeards unite.
Whoa, sir. I have never in my fucking life said Mulaney, nor do I own a katana or a fucking fedora. So we're gonna.
I don't know any of those things either.
Motherfucker. All right, well that's it for us, guys. Take care.
Also, I have 2 children to prove I've had sex. So.
Thank you so much for the support. Please like and subscribe and share and tell your friends. I mean, even if they want to fucking hate my guts, that's totally fine. I've been in the toy industry for 10 years. I got a lot of fucking people who don't like me. So let's keep that party rolling. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Feel the power of love.